Wagner Group accused Russian military of attacking them with missiles, and they said the fresh blood of their friends was everywhere.
Сними всех! А теперь слушайте меня, сука, блядь! Это чьи-то, блядь, отцы!
But this is just the starting of a very long timeline of events. The second event was the release of audio messages, in which Prigozhin called Russia's military leadership evil, adding, "Those who destroyed our guys today will be punished." Russia's security service responded by opening a criminal case against Wagner Group and the chief, Prigozhin. And then the war of words ended, and real action started. Wagner Group crossed the border from Ukraine into Russia as they entered the southern Russian city of Rostov. Videos showed unidentified fighters outside Russia's southern military district headquarters. At the same time, the world started to notice, and White House said that they are monitoring the situation in Russia very closely. Prigozhin released a video from Rostov, which is a key southern command center for Russian military, and he said he had control of the area. Prigozhin is seen entering the southern military district headquarters and then meeting with Russia's Deputy Defense Minister Yunus Bek. In the past, the Wagner chief has railed against Russian Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu for his disorganized approach to the war effort, as well as accusing him of lying about casualties and denying supplies and ammunition to Wagner troops during the brutal fight for the Ukrainian town of Bakhmut. A Russian security source told Reuters that Wagner fighters have taken control of all military facilities in the city of Voronezh, which is about 500 kilometers south of Moscow. Finally, the wait was over, and Putin spoke. The Russian president called Wagner Group soldiers heroes for liberating Donbass, but he was not so kind towards the Wagner chief, and Putin labeled him as a stab in back. Prigozhin responded to Putin's address, saying the president was mistaken. He added, "We are patriots of our motherland. We've been fighting and will continue to fight because we do not want the country to continue to live in corruption." And then the friends of Putin jumped into the action. Chechen leader Ramzan Kadyrov, a Putin ally, said he is ready to help using his forces. Reports later suggested some 3,000 Chechen forces in Ukraine had been dispatched to Russia. Wagner troops head toward Moscow. The British Defense Ministry said that Wagner units were spotted traveling north through the Voronezh region, almost certainly aiming to get to Moscow. Footage showed troops traveling near Yelets, a Russian city some 240 miles from the capital. Moscow braced for Wagner's approach. Roadblocks were put up on most routes into the capital. Lukashenko brokered a deal. In an audio message, Prigozhin ordered his fighters to turn around and return to their bases in order to avoid bloodshed. He said his fighters had advanced within 124 miles of Moscow. Then a statement by the Belarusian government claimed that President Alexander Lukashenko, in agreement with Putin, held talks with Prigozhin, and that the Wagner boss accepted a proposal to halt his march to Moscow. Prigozhin and his Wagner forces, that joined in the rebellion, have been offered safe haven in Belarus. The remaining Wagner forces in Ukraine, that did not join the mutiny, will be absorbed into Russia's military. But behind the scenes, there was a lot going on. British security forces told the Telegraph that Russian intelligence services had threatened harm to the families of Wagner leaders who were participating in the mutiny. The report cited a British intelligence assessment that about 8,500 Wagner fighters were involved in the mutiny, contradicting public reports that the number was closer to 25,000. Now let's talk about Prigozhin, from an almost unknown person to trending on the mainstream media across the globe, the hot dog seller who rose to the top of Putin's war machine. He was born in 1961, 9 years after Putin. His father died when he was young. His mother worked in a hospital. He was a gangster since childhood. One evening in March 1980, the 18-year-old Prigozhin and 3 friends left a St. Petersburg cafe close to midnight and spotted a woman walking alone along the dark street. One of Prigozhin's buddies distracted the woman by asking for a cigarette. As she went to open her purse, Prigozhin materialized behind her and grabbed her neck, squeezing until she lost consciousness. Then his friend slipped off her shoes while Prigozhin removed her gold earrings and pocketed them. It was one of many robberies that Prigozhin and his friends carried out in St. Petersburg over a period of several months, and soon the court found. He was sentenced to 13 years in prison and spent the rest of the decade behind bars. After spending a decade in jail, he came out and started out modestly, selling hot dogs. After some years, the food business was generating cash, but Prigozhin had his sights set higher than fast food. He always looked for people higher up to befriend, and he was good at it. Prigozhin began winning contracts to cater for major government events through Concord, a holding company he had set up back in the 1990s. And from there, his friendship with Putin started, and he started serving world leaders across his hotels in Russia. New opportunities arose when Russia annexed Crimea in March 2014 and intervened militarily in eastern Ukraine. Putin asked him to start the Wagner Group with Dmitry Utkin, and they started carrying out operations in Ukraine, Syria, and other parts of Africa. Wagner's group was inhuman all over. Russian journalists who investigated Prigozhin's activities also faced threats, and many people in the Russian Defense Ministry did not like him either, and we all know what has gone down. A very close ally of Prigozhin said he does not have an off switch. He understands that many hate him in the system, so he knows that if he stops, it could be the end for him. He has no choice. He cannot reverse. And after taking head-on fight with Putin, the news of him falling from a skyscraper can come any time. The finest gift you can give this channel is to watch my videos until the very end, because it takes a lot of time and work to produce these thoroughly researched videos with outstanding editing. Thank you.